Short, bald, and angry.
You sometimes find that your dreams get in the way of your dream. Get out of here! Dreams blocking dreams. Dreams preventing my dreams from dreaming. Get out of here, Baldy! He called down a curse on them in the name of the Lord.
God damn it!
Then 2 she-bears came out of the woods and mauled 42 of the boys.
I'm a shooter, goddammit.
Cross me again, I'll put a bullet through your head!
Not that kind of shooter. I'm a peace-loving shooter. A cameraman. I might appear to be short, bald, and angry on the outside, but I assure you I am tall, happy, and handsome on the inside. I am a walking contradiction. Let's get this thing started. In 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Short, Bald, and Angry podcast. My name is Cinco, and this is episode 6. My guest today is Wheeler Preddy. He's a good friend of mine. I don't know what it is about Texas, but I always get along with people from Texas. At least the Texans who moved to New York. I know a lot of dudes from Texas, and a couple of them are my best friends. Wheeler is a relatively new friend, known him for about 4 or 5 years, I think. But he's another example of a Texas dude who I get along great with. He's also, as you will hear, a very multidisciplinary guy. Wheeler is a man who does everything. I was surprised to find out that he ran a music venue with his dad down in Texas. And at this point, I should know not to be surprised by how many things this guy does and has done. But I was legit surprised. It adds a layer of cool to the guy, though. It makes a lot of sense. Since I've known him, he's worked in advertising, he's done graphic design, he's worked for tech companies, he's learned to code. He designed and built a vertical video platform, or better known as an app, called Vert. That's spelled VRT. And I'm featured in a video he made for Vert. I'm not sure when it will be up, but you'll have to download the app to check it out. And then one day, Wheeler was at my apartment, and out of nowhere, he whipped out an animatic. For those of you who don't know what an animatic is, it's like a storyboard edited so you can watch it with varying degrees of dialogue, sound effects, score, animation. It's what you make before you make the thing. And in this case, it was an animatic loosely based on a Murakami story for a short film he wanted to shoot. And he shot it. So he's a filmmaker now, too. And he's even animated a super fun series of shorts called Big, Big, Fat, Fat, Stupid, Stupid, Cat, Cat. And it's freaking awesome. I believe it's destined to be an interstitial on Cartoon Network or something like that. There's at least one that you can watch online. The link is in the description. And we talked a lot about fear on this episode. When it comes to being creative and innovative, Wheeler is a guy who seems fearless. He has ideas, and he figures out how to execute them. He's fascinated by all the things that pop up when you're doing something, the things that you don't even know existed, the things you only learn about when you are actually doing something. These are the same things that drive a lot of people to give up. These are the things that I get annoyed at. And angry about, but talking to him reminds me I need to remain interested and inspired and positive rather than annoyed and burnt out and pissed off all the time. The journey needs to be fun. My philosophy is don't expect it to be fun. Expect a roller coaster. But keep that curious and inspired part of you protected and in a hard shell. Don't let it disappear or burn up or whatever metaphor is appropriate for the onset of cynicism and disillusionment. Don't let the words of others destroy you, and don't let reality crush you. Reality is like the ocean. It's a massive force of tides. You got to know when to go with the flow and when it's time to swim or to throw that sail up. And that's definitely enough metaphor talk for now. I don't know, really. You could go on forever talking about the ocean and relating it to life. But bringing it all back to Wheeler, he's a guy I love to be around, not just because we have fun together, and we like a lot of the same things, and not just because he's inspired and full of great ideas, but because he's encouraging and he makes you feel like anything is possible. I think this is a great episode for creative people to listen to if you want to get inspired, because Wheeler is inspired and has a lot of great ideas around how to stay that way. And we tried something different this episode. As I mentioned, Wheeler made a vertical video app called Vert, VRT, and he's been cranking out a ton of vertical video content. So the day we recorded this, he brought his 2 iPhone Xs over and set them up on us. So today we have an episode with video of us talking. You can see our lovely mugs. I'd love to do more video episodes, but we'll see. I am considering buying some new gear, but actually I can't buy anything right now because I am about to move. That's right, Studio Cinco is on the move. I will be moving from my current location between September 1st and October 1st. I am on the hunt for a new studio living situation. Preferably, I want to live there too. But beggars can't be choosers. If you have anything you can recommend, please send it my way. I'm eager to find a new space and settle in as soon as possible. I don't expect it will happen right away, but hopefully I'll get lucky. I've never had as clear a vision for my future as I do now. It's exciting. Even if I do get angry at myself for being 35 and not having, I haven't brought any of my big dreams to life, I know it's all still possible. And the only thing is that the clock is really ticking now. Every passing year is simply increasing the odds I will not complete a project on the list of dreams. I'll have to forsake a dream with every passing year. So I am prioritizing finding a space where I can settle in to create the next phase of work. Films, comics, art, books, this podcast. I've been pretty regular up to this point, cranking out an episode a week. I'm going to do my best to keep that up despite the move and everything being kind of upside down right now. Listening back to these podcasts while I mix them has been really rewarding. I end up hearing and understanding what the guests were saying in a deeper way. Because it's always impossible to fully process what's happening while it's happening, like while the guests are talking. But when I listen back to them while I'm mixing, I'm always surprised by the wisdom in the words of my guests, things I didn't quite hear when we were talking. In this episode, I was struck by the opposite effect, though, that my own words had on me. At one point, I boldly declared our parents' generation used to pick one thing, referring to work, the vocation, while my generation has to do so many different things. And hearing that suddenly made me just want to slap myself. My parents both do and have done a wide range of things to get by and to support me and my sister over the years. I think through all generations, long before mine was born, our ancestors had to be even more crafty than we are now, because they didn't have smartphones and Google and the answer to every question at the tip of their fingers. So I apologize to the older generations who might listen to this episode and think, what the fuck does this kid know about what I had to do to get by over the years? I want you to know that I have an active imagination and a deep interest in history, in your history, and I am interested in talking to you always, and potentially on this show. I think I say things like our parents chose one thing while we choose so many different for a lot of reasons. It's something I hear a lot of people say. It's soundbite talk. It sounds smart. But I think the truth is more complicated. This topic will undoubtedly be revisited as I think it's crucial for people of all ages to command an increasingly wide variety of skills if we want to stay competitive and relevant, or even just simply land paying gigs. So let's get ready to kick off this episode. Remember, all the links, anything discussed here, anything that we're talking about, there's a link probably for it in the description. Check out all the things Wheeler is up to. Support me on my Patreon. Subscribe on YouTube, follow on Instagram, Twitter, all of it, and share my work. Send my work to other people who are interested in creative things. Comment. Let me know how you feel. My mother is still the main commenter. And, as great as it is to have finally found something I do that my mother loves, I want to hear from more of you out there. And, of course, if you are watching this, you are seeing me do a Photoshop right now of Wheeler. Do you want one? Come on the show. Guests on Short, Bald, and Angry receive a free Photoshop. I ask guests to pay me a reasonable licensing fee if they want to use it promotionally, or like on an album cover or on merch or something. But you don't have to come on the show to get one. I will do one of you for a modest price. Or maybe you want me to do someone of someone you know for a gift. Hit me up. Photoshops on the table. All right, that's enough intro babble for one day. I am super happy and pumped to share this conversation with my friend Wheeler Preddy. Please enjoy.
And I should always do that. I should 2 times it just to make sure that makes sense. So we don't have
Just to make sure when you it's good.
if I leave
Absolutely.
what's that?
See, we're getting smarter every day. Learn a little something every day.
Or dumber. I don't know.
All right.
Is it dumber and wiser? I don't know if it's smarter. Or staying the same amount of dumb, but getting wiser. Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think
Wait. Actually,
dumber every day. Dumber every day, but making it look like you're smart, just tricking people into thinking that you're smart.
I agree. I like the way you're doing it. By the way, you're kind of angling the mesh.
Yeah, angle the mesh. Do that.
I like the mesh angle. How's that? Is that good?
Oh, it's great. We sound really saucy right now.
Oh yeah.
Crisp voices.
Crispy voice.
Krispy Kremes. All right.
Have you seen that Garth Brooks video
Which one?
where this sort of talking like this always reminds me of it, where he's in a hotel room and he's talking to the camera and he's like, I wasn't sure about this whole video thing, but then a friend, she told me, hey, it's like you can connect with your audience. And I was like, hey, I like that. And I can talk to you guys closer. Oh, I really like that. And he literally uses that voice.
I'm making
and it's so disturbing.
a note right now. Garth Brooks.
Yeah.
Creepy.
It's
creepy. What was
that?
What was
that
it?
was verbatim
radio
too.
show? It was?
No, it's like his YouTube channel or no, Facebook. It was a Facebook video post, and he opened it up to connect with his audience, and he's like, I'm gonna do real shit, raw shit, and it's just creepy.
The raw Garth.
Yeah, H3H3, their podcast talked about it.
All right, man. So,
Did you get me drinking that?
oh, I can hear you swallow. My friend Will Cavallaro, who's going to come on the show one time, he was doing audio on a shoot full. It was just all women, and he had the wireless mic on one of them, and he said, I don't know, like, Susan, I hear you swallow.
Oh.
Everybody was like,
Oh no!
what did you just say? What's wrong
Oh
with this?
no!
Sound guys are always the creepiest, just by the nature of what it is.
Oh wait! I think this camera.
You want to check the camera?
I think the camera fell down. Sorry.
Technical difficulties.
Oh no, it didn't. I'm just.
So our guest today, my good friend Wheeler Preddy. I met Wheeler through my roommate Eric Mixon. Wheeler, you're a super creative guy. You're kind of like me and a lot of people I know. We do like 100 different things, and at the end of the day, when someone asks you a question like the one I asked you yesterday, like, what do you like to be called? You're like, I don't know. I do all these things, and you do a lot of different things.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said about kind of like how we are today. I think in most recent years, kind of nobody knows what they are, like at least in our field anyway. Like I think a lot of people do a lot of different things because there's so much information out there that you can just like learn whatever you want to learn. So it's kind of hard to define yourself when, in a way, actually, we're kind of expected to do a lot of things, right?
I think we have to. Yeah. I think it's not a choice. It's not an option. If you want to stay competitive and relevant, you have to have a wide skill set, and that makes you become like several different professions, or like back in the day, our parents chose one, and now we're like
Right.
5 or 10 different things.
Yeah.
Just to stay competitive and relevant.
Yeah, in the advertising biz, they would call that a unicorn, I think. Or actually, you know what? In in design as far as websites and apps go. I think unicorns, quote unquote, are sort of people who can design and code. So, yeah, I guess you and I are unicorns is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel about that, Ian, but
No, but you can't really see it. It's more of a magical aura. Like iPhone 10 doesn't capture it, but like our horns are touching right now.
yes. Also, is it okay?
Rubbing horns.
Is it okay if I do this with my pants off?
Yeah, take them off. Man.
See, I think even this camera can't see.
It's all
that
good
my
below
pants
the
are off.
table. If you can't,
You're
if you
right.
can't see it, it can't hurt
Yeah.
anybody.
You got a shirt, everything's all right.
Right. All right, man. Well, yeah, I mean, we are doing a lot of things, and it is hard to define ourselves, and yet we have to. So I'm going to ask you, or you don't really have to define yourself. Just tell us some of the things you do. Like what? Because I'll follow up with anything you forget, because I think I've made a pretty solid list here.
Okay. Yeah, sure. So, first off, thanks for having me on this.
Thanks for
podcast.
coming, man.
Yeah. So I think I started off as a musician. That's what I wanted to do. I was in a band, going on tour. It was like my entire thing that I wanted to do. And
You were in a band,
was.
and you were touring, or you were getting ready to.
Well, we went on one tour. It was 2-3 weeks long, I think. And
What was the band name?
New Rome, like Rome. And and so that was my entire passion, but I quickly learned that, it's like being married to like 4 other dudes, and
There's no shame in that, though.
no shame in that at all. But I guess it's just hard to, it's hard to keep the band together, as they say, it's difficult. A lot of different personalities, clashing, oh, we want to do this with this band. We want to do this without, but anyway, all that's to say that I sort of found design along that path, because I actually went to school for music theory, because again, that's all I wanted to do. It was just a community college,
Okay.
But they had a really good program, and so I had to sing. It was awful. I'm not a good singer.
We're going to have you sing at the end of the show.
Yeah, right. So, I'm trying not to give my whole life story, but I'm trying to give backstory as to like.
Oh, I would be asking you about it anyway. So if you want to get it out of the way at the beginning, go for it, man.
Well, I think it has a lot to do with just sort of like why I'm crazy the way I am, as far as just wanting to learn different things and be able to do different things, and I think it sort of stems from me doing this in the beginning, which was like going to music theory, and then I basically met this girl and we started dating, and then she took a Photoshop class, and I didn't know what Photoshop was, and so I kind of went into the class with her, and they had Macs and everything, and I was like, Macs? Like, my dad was an IT guy, so he worked on PCs, and that's what I grew up with. That's like all I've ever worked on. And I saw these Macs, and I was like, I had this like visceral reaction when I walked in there. I was like, ugh, why are you working on Macs?
It's pretty silly how we all fall into the camps. And now you're converted, are you not?
Oh, I'm completely
now you're the
converted.
opposite. You're
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you won't talk to me if I work on a PC.
Oh yeah, like it's bad. Like, don't ask me what I think about the newest Apple product, because I will give you a total fanboy answer. Even if it's
We'll save the iPhone 10 conversation for the end then.
Yeah. So I walk in there. I hate the Macs. I work on it. I realize what Photoshop is and what design is. I didn't even know that was a thing, and I just fell in love with both the Mac and design. I haven't gotten back since. Like, the Mac has always been my thing since then.
Yeah, same. Once you go Mac, you never go back.
Oh no. I kind of love it though.
Yeah.
So, kind of doing both of those things. I don't know, like, I was running a music venue then with my dad as well. So I was kind of doing a lot then.
In Texas?
In Texas, yeah.
What was the name of the music venue?
It was called Illuminati.
It's not around anymore?
It is definitely not. It is a parking lot now.
Oh, it's sad, man. That's cool.
Yeah, it's
You and your dad running a music venue
yeah,
together.
it was crazy. It
How
was
many
really
years
crazy.
did you do that? And how many years did he do that?
Oh man, I'm gonna misquote this, but I think it was for 3 or 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah. You know, I'm totally insane. I can't focus on one thing. And that's both a bad and a good thing, I think. Just like anything, right, in life.
Well, you focus. You get shit done. You're doing a lot. You want to do a lot of many different things.
I like learning, and
Yeah.
you know this too. It's just like you somehow can't help it. It's like you're like, oh, I want to know how that works, you know. And
Yeah.
actually, you know, I'm all over the place. Sorry, but my mom visited for the first time in like the 8 or 9 years that I've lived here in New York, and she told me this story that I like didn't realize, and I thought hadn't always been this way, but she told me the story about how she bought me this toy car that you could sit in, you know, those like plastic Fisher Price ones where you could like, you know, with your feet pedal around.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, I'm like a little kid.
I used to have those too. We used to race down hills and nearly kill each other on them.
Yeah. Boys will be boys.
Girls too.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, my sister, basically.
Yeah.
But you know, I got it, and she said the first thing I did was want to know how it worked. And so I flipped it upside down and I started taking it apart and started looking at how all the little wheels worked and how the pedals like made the wheels go and sort of how the steering wheel worked, and just completely like took it apart. And so I just thought that was crazy because I'm like, that is me. And I didn't realize that was me when I was a kid too. I thought I sort of grew into this sort of consumption monster of like of knowledge.
It's
you know?
super obvious to me when I see my friends' kids now. Like, yeah, your parents affect who you are. They turn you into who you are. Your environment makes you. But
Right.
but you're born with a personality, and like your interests and everything are kind of already there.
Yeah,
and then to
it's
think back
weird.
on yourself, it's like, oh, so I was kind of like that little already fully formed little, in my case, little piece of shit. I don't know how you think of yourself, but
Is that true though? Is
Yeah.
that true? Or are you joking?
which bit about me being a little piece of shit?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, there's duality. I'm a big, warm, loving heart and a little piece of shit. You know.
Okay. Yeah. What did you say? You have to be a good balance of both, or you're fake. What was it?
At the end of your video.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was great. It was a great quote.
I was just ending the video. Well, maybe we should hop over to Vert. But yeah, Wheeler came over and shot a video of me for his new app called Vert, VRT. And I just ended it with a thank you to the audience, and I said, I think something like, I love you and I hate you, and you know, you gotta have a balance of love and hate, otherwise you're full of shit or something like
Yeah,
that.
so good.
Yeah.
You said a nice human cocktail. I
Right.
thought that was great. That
Yeah.
was a good way to end it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we can jump into that.
Yeah, let's just.
I
jump
feel like I
into
didn't
Vert.
really answer the other question.
We'll come back to it because I'll go down my list of stuff.
Okay.
But you are making an app. It's not like you've been making. It's been
Yeah.
around for a while now. It's had several incarnations. I'll let you take over. Just start telling us about it.
Sure. I do have to say that you're right about the water.
Right? Yeah, water is essential on a podcast.
Just taking
Make sure you have water on hand.
Yeah, just hydrating right now. This is good podcast material right here. Sipping on water.
Rule number 1: get your water bottles for your podcast.
Yeah, it's so true. You wouldn't think so, or maybe someone regular would, but going into it, I was like, I don't need water.
Yeah.
I'm fine. Like, I've talked a lot before.
I'm a real man. I don't need water.
Yeah, I guess. But what, we're like a couple of minutes in now, and I'm like, I'm parched. I'm parched now.
Not even 14 minutes in.
Yeah, but you know, today's kind of swampy.
It's a nasty day.
It's a nasty day. Vert.
Yeah, Vert. Tell us about Vert.
Okay, so Vert. Yeah. Vert, it kind of has a long history.
Let's start with what it is now, like what you want it to be, and then I'll prod you and bring you back.
Okay. So Vert is basically a vertical video platform, and it's not the first vertical video platform, but I think
But it kind of was when you first started.
when I first started, it definitely
Yeah.
was.
I remember it. I was like, I hate vertical video. Fuck
Yeah.
vertical video.
Yeah, everyone was then when I
Yeah.
made it. But what we're trying to do with it is basically we want to create really great, compelling stories
Yeah.
with talented people. And basically what that means is just kind of letting specific people onto the platform to create that content.
Yeah.
So not everyone can get in, but almost everyone, as long as like we're sort of compatible, But it's
You're not
basically
letting porn actresses on, right? You're not going to let it turn into what is it? Patreon, which I'm on right now. I'm using heavily and
Yeah.
hoping that people pay me through Patreon. Hey,
Right.
consider donating to my Patreon. It
Yeah.
has a pretty high. I hear porn star. A lot of porn stars are using it.
I mean, it makes sense. Like, and you should go to Ian's Patreon though.
I have two. There's my porn Patreon and my regular Patreon. I leave it up to you to find my porn Patreon.
I didn't want to say anything, but me too. Got to make a living, right?
Hey, don't take hashtag me too right now. You can't take that for this.
Oh no, we can't talk about that. So yeah, where was I?
Vert's one of the first or you're it's not the first anymore. Vertical video integrated app.
Yeah, but I mean, basically what happened.
You were talking about the users.
Yeah. What kind of happened was I made this thing 3 years ago, and it maybe was a little too early for its time. I mean, Snapchat at the time was the only one doing quote unquote vertical video. I mean, it was just more like people just taking video and sending it to each other. So there was no like kind of scripted or not even not scripted, just sort of video, just telling stories, like it could be vlogs or whatever. And at the time, that's more what Vert is now, right? I think back then I didn't really know what it was. I just knew that I woke up one day and realized, oh my God, like vertical video is going to be the future. Like a video, not film, not, that's all going to be there and TVs are going to be there. But I kind of realized like the way that most people, you know what, actually, I'll tell what hit me. What hit me was that I saw all these videos popping up around little pockets of the internet being like, stop shooting this way. Stop shooting vertical.
I probably sent you one of my favorites.
Yeah. And I kind of looked at it and I was like, why are people saying this? Is that because there's a lot of this? And so I looked more into it and I just realized it was like, if there's an opposite, there's got to be a positive to it, right? Or if there's a negative to it, there's got to be a positive.
Yeah.
And that positive for me was like, wow, this is going to be how everyone shoots because of the phone.
Yeah.
Because this is how we hold it.
Definitely not going away. Only getting more popular.
Only getting more popular.
Vertical video popping up everywhere.
Yeah. So I started with a coworker at a place I was freelancing, and then he couldn't do it anymore after we had already made it, and it was kind of out there, and people were sort of using it. And it got on producthunt.com and stuff like this, and just a few people commented, but it was like very exciting. It was like, wow, I have a thing. This is the thing that I woke up and dreamt about, and just like, here it is.
It's cool. It makes you more of an adult, but it brings out the inner kid. Your dreams start coming true that way.
Yeah,
right?
you get like a little kid. Like,
you feel like a little kid inside, and then you can step outside yourself and be like, wow, this is really grown up. I'm becoming that like grown adult who does these cool things.
Yeah,
but you're giddy about it.
Yeah, and it's your thing. It's your own thing. Like, I think you go through life wanting to be somebody within something, like a company or whatever it might be, and you're really working towards that, but you learn a lot from that experience. You learn so much that eventually you go, well, why am I doing this for this company? Like, I have the skills basically to make my own, not business, not like business sense, but just like creating all the things that make something, like design and music and whatever else that it might be, like advertising. So anyway, my partner couldn't do it anymore. So I try to keep it going. It's very hard to find a developer, like in any sense.
Yeah, I know about that. I worked at a tech company for a while.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and you kind of when you meet them, you're like, oh, I have this idea. Like everyone has an idea. Everyone has an app idea. Everyone has like a website idea.
Yeah.
And you want them to do it, of course. Like you meet them, you're like, well, why would they not want to do like a side project or something? And most of them can't because they can do it, so they've got their own idea, and so
Right.
they're going to do that,
Yeah.
which totally makes sense to me. And they do it for their job too, so they don't have time. And so I had to pay people to keep the website going, and after a while, I couldn't keep it up anymore. I was like, oh, I have to make money, so I went back to freelance, and then it just kind of fell by the wayside, unfortunately.
And back then what was it called back then?
Vert, VRT.
It was still Vert back then?
Yeah.
Oh, so but it went through other. Let's take it back to the other incarnations. Do you want to talk about those, or do you not want to talk about?
Yeah. So I had made an app for Vert, and the thing about that app was my partner and I had this like cross communication, which always happens, where I sat down to make it because at the time it was just a website, and you need like an app to make it easier to upload, because at the time you'd upload through the website. So I made this app, and I come back from some vacation or something, and it's kind of like, well, why did you make this app? And I was like, oh, well, I thought we needed an app, and it turns out, that wasn't part of the plan. And then when Vert went away, I was like, well, I have this app that I coded, like, what could I turn this into since I'm not doing Vert, And I was
I didn't realize. So Vert, the name Vert was there at the beginning.
It was there at the beginning.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was kind of like my baby, And
Yeah. I like that. That's cool. The original idea was the one to stick with.
yeah, and it's different now
Yeah.
than it was, the idea,
Right.
really. But I liked the name, But yeah, I don't know why. It makes no sense to me now when I look back and I go, "Oh, why didn't you just make it a Vert app?" Like I don't. It was a bizarre thing to me, but I know more now than I did then, obviously.
Well, it's like you feel like you have this idea and it's a good idea, and then like months go by and things happen. Maybe some things discourage you or something, and then you're like,
Yeah.
oh, I need to add something else to it. It needs something else, right? And what was that something else?
Yeah. So for some reason, my head went to like, oh, dating.
It's not a bad idea. I mean, it's definitely a market that's people are always going to want to go on dates. People are always going to want to hook up.
Yeah, and 3 years ago it was huge.
Right.
I mean, it's big now, but it's a little different. It's all kind of died down, and it's maybe a little more like part of society now.
I think it's just things have settled to where they are, right? Like it
things
hasn't
have-
died down. There's still people
Yeah.
grinding and Tindering all over the place constantly.
exactly.
Probably someone in this building right now grinding.
Oh yeah, definitely still grinding.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I had that idea, but I took the video thing and I was like, well, no one's doing video and dating, and it's so hard to get across who you are by writing. If you're not a writer, if you're bad at taking pictures, I don't know, whatever it is, it's like, it felt like a lot of work versus just kind of pointing a camera at yourself and sort of saying who you are, or showing your life, like showing your dog running around. Like that way people got to know you better. And it just seemed like a one-to-one thing where you're like, okay, cool. And so I called it Ditto, Ditto. And, oh, I like you. Oh, I like you back.
Right,
Ditto,
right,
sort of a thing. And so, again, it's like this thing, the first ever video dating app, it's kind of like I have a lot of firsts, but never, it never like became anything, mostly just because, you learn a lot when you make these things. Like you make it and you think a lot of people are going to see it. And I know better than that. Like I know better than that because that's what I do. I'm a product designer and I help all these startups and companies create products. And I know for a fact that that doesn't happen. But you still...
I'm going through that right now with this podcast. I know, like
Yeah.
I knew it wasn't going to just
Right.
blow up overnight.
You know it.
But then when the reality hits, it's like, oh damn, like nobody's listening, nobody's watching. How do I get new people?
Yeah, and it goes to this article my current partner on Vert sent me about, your product isn't 100% product. It doesn't. If it's just 100% product, no one's gonna see it, right? So it's like 80% product, 20% market, or sorry, 80% marketing, 20% product.
Right.
And I would even go as to say it's 90% marketing and 10% product. And I mean, the product's got to be good, but like, no one's gonna see it, and that's the unfortunate thing. Like, no matter how good your product is, you've got to love the marketing. You got to love that aspect of it, because that's everything. And unfortunately, dating apps, like, yeah, you got to have two people to connect. Whoever those two people are, they have to connect. So you got to have a lot of people. So that means you got to have a lot of funding, a lot of money up front to do that marketing, to get that audience, so then they have people to interact with. But it was a really fun project, and I learned a lot making it. I learned even more about working with video, coding Swift, coding iOS apps. And
You're self-taught with coding, right?
So, well, yeah, self-taught in a way that I like took online classes, or I learned from YouTubers and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I
always like promoting that sort of learning, not to take away from great teachers out there, because I've had plenty of great teachers who I love, but just because there's, so many people going into debt and so many poor people out there, it's like there is a way to get your ass in front of a computer and just learn it for free or very cheap.
Yeah, and that's the best part about the age we live in, is all that information. You can learn anything you want for free, most of it, or for like $10.
Yeah.
You could take like an amazing course from a person who just decided to be on, I think it's called Shareable.
Not sure.
I'm not sure what it's called, but
There's so many things out there, honestly. Like, now that I'm getting more into art, I'm learning about all these art, programs, and there's so many.
Like online programs.
Yeah. There's so many of them.
There's
You can
so
just go to
many of
YouTube and find the free stuff, but then there's other things. There's like tiers of payment. There's just so much to choose from.
And you just sort of pick
Yeah.
from it all. Like, I don't think you ever really like go to one source and just
I
learn
definitely
everything.
pick. I like find the people I like, and
Yeah.
and then I branch out from there.
Yeah. Yeah, you never want to kind of like stick to one person telling you something, because there's so many ways to do something
Absolutely.
that I think you kind of find through watching all these different people and go, oh, that person, I kind of like how they think, that sort of connects with me. And
Yeah.
then that's when you learn the most.
It's like while you're finding yourself,
Yeah,
I'm going to
what?
put the NPR voice
the
on.
NPR voice.
As you find yourself through by cherry picking other people's ideas.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, I've created a lot of stuff, but I think when I'm doing all this, I'm thinking I'm learning all this because I just want to make it. The best thing you can do is just make something so people can see it. Because a lot of the times, if you're ahead of the curve, let's say, even if you don't realize you are, or you think you are, whatever it might be,
Yeah.
sometimes people don't see it like you see it. And so when you tell it to them, they're like, I don't get it. What is this? No one's going to do that. It's dumb, you know? And you hear these stories all the time about these entrepreneurial guys or startup guys or who go through this process and they pitch to VCs or people with money who could fund it and say, here's this idea. And they're like, no, I'm not going to do that. And you kind of get it.
It's totally logical. It's just, we need to make money. This doesn't work. This hasn't been done. That's not going to work. You get it. You get why they say that, right?
You get it, and it's also in your head, and sometimes you see things differently than other people, so they can't see it. So I'm all about just like making it and putting it in front of you, even if it's loose, even if it's not exactly how it's going to be. Just animate it, just code it.
I
Just
agree, man.
put it in front of somebody and say, here, remember that thing excuse me. Remember that thing, I'm drinking Canada Dry. I'm more of a Schweppes man, not a Canada Dry person. There's actually this entire subculture. This is probably totally false, but in my head, there's a subculture of what bubble person you are. Bubbles meaning like seltzer water. And there's all these kind of different kinds of varying amounts of bubbles introduced into the water. But I myself am a Schweppes man, just, putting that on the record.
I'm going to call you Schweppy.
Yeah, everyone else is LaCroix, but LaCroix is not bubbly
It's everywhere
enough.
now. You can't get away from it.
You can't get away from it. It's good branding.
Turn around, it's everywhere.
Yeah, ask somebody.
It's like you could make a little horror sketch about it. It's like, there it is again.
Yeah, exactly.
You turn around, it's like in a little baby's hand. Little baby's drinking fucking La Croix.
Oh, you got to, that's going to be me when I have kids. They're going to be Schweppes kids.
Yeah.
I'm not.
That's what you think. When you have kids, they're born. They come out fully formed.
I know. You think
you ain't in
that
control
you're
of your
gonna
kids'
mold-
lives.
Yeah, you're gonna be like, you know what? You're gonna like sports. You're gonna like the sports I like. And that's just never gonna happen. Like
My parents raised me with no sports. I played nothing until like middle school, and I didn't care. I didn't like them, and then I went like hardcore. I got hardcore into sports, obsessed, and I went from sucking at everything. In 1 year, I was awesome at everything because I have a natural athleticism. But I played nothing growing up.
Oh yeah.
So it took me like a hard, very humiliating, embarrassing year to get to a point where I was good. And I got really good, pretty good at everything, but I was very little.
What sport?
And I was, oh man, basketball was the one that really, I got obsessed with Michael Jordan. I thought I was going to be Michael Jordan.
Nice.
Like a lot of people back then. Mm-hmm. But lacrosse.
Lacrosse.
I played lacrosse.
That's surprising.
Yeah, I mean, I played baseball, football, fucking, you name it.
You just did it all. Do
Yeah,
you follow
soccer.
I always feel weird saying sports because it makes
Sports, athleticism.
if you couldn't tell, I don't follow sports.
You don't?
No, and
I don't
think-
either, man. I haven't.
Oh really?
I haven't
Well,
years.
that's what I was going to ask you. If you follow it now,
I
even
feel
though-
super lame when the World Cup is on and everybody gets into it. And It's
Yeah.
just like, I like it. I like
Yeah,
how everybody comes together.
same.
But then when everybody's going crazy in the streets, I'm like, that I don't. I could pretend. You could give me like,
Right.
I could chug a bunch of fucking beer right now and pretend to be like, France. But
Yeah.
I just like, who cares? Honestly.
Right. Well, it's
Obviously, it's like very important to like the culture and the people. It means a ton to a lot of people. But
yeah.
I'm obsessed with art. I don't have any time to enjoy the things I want to enjoy. So I like.
So you
sports
think you would
are
enjoy
definitely
sports?
pushed back, huh?
You think you would enjoy sports? You just don't have enough time to enjoy it?
Yeah, if there was like, if I could like split myself off and live in different bodies and like experience time through 7 different bodies, I would have the sports body for sure.
I like that. I like that. Yeah, I like that. Multiverse Ians,
Yeah,
enjoying different things.
yeah. Rick and Morty is the very famous show right now that
Right.
is multiverse and interdimensional. And do you watch that show?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you know
love
it.
Rick and Morty.
Tons of Rick and Mortys out there doing all. There's a different version of you, and everything you could imagine you've ever want to do. There's a version of you doing it out there somewhere. If you believe in that shit,
Yeah.
I like thinking about that. I think that informs a lot of my art. Multiverse and
Oh,
multi
really?
dimensions, definitely.
I could see that. I
Yeah.
could definitely see that. And that tells you a lot about us if we have time for Rick and Morty, but we don't have time for sports. That,
Yeah.
makes sense.
I
Because
mean,
we both draw. We're both
Yeah.
into illustrating.
Yeah,
And
you made. We're hopping around now, but that's
Oh,
fine.
yeah.
It's a
No, we're
podcast.
hopping around
It's cool.
so much.
Just cover it.
we covered Schweppes. We got that.
I'm gonna bring us to your cartoon. What's
Okay.
it called?
It's called Big Fat Stupid Cat, or the more catchy version, it's Big Fat Stupid Cat.
It's awesome. It's so funny. I love it. Maybe
It's-
I'm gonna try to convince you to let me put one on this, or there'll be a link. Hopefully, whenever you put it out, I'll put the links back in this because this is gonna come out like
Oh.
next week or something like that.
Yeah, actually.
So whenever you make it public, I'll add the links in
okay.
later.
Yeah, I think I'm actually posting it today.
Yeah.
I think I was supposed to post it earlier.
Don't cut this podcast off to post the
know.
fat cat that's
Can you
been
guys
ready
pause
to
for a
post
second? I
years
gotta-
now. Yeah.
I gotta go post something.
I mean, I can.
Yeah, just hold the fort down here and just.
Right. I'm just gonna start telling nasty stories about you while you're posting the fat cat.
Yeah, I'm doing it with a friend of mine, Matt Casada, and we're doing this cartoon thing. It's very short. It's really fun. It's really fun to do. It's a lot of work, But
Yeah, animation is a ton of work.
animation is a ton of work, but it's so fun. Like it's like anything you do. It's this weird thing, this weird high you get from creating something from nothing.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't say that you like it. I wouldn't. Okay, I'm gonna say this, but I don't actually believe this. But it's sort of like being like godlike, where you're in a way, because you're sort of like, oh, okay, here's this creature, here's this cat or whatever it is, here's what it looks like, here's what it sounds like, here's how it moves, and then suddenly it's just moving, you know, and it has its own little life.
I mean, creating period is like that, but animation especially.
Yeah.
You're literally controlling every little move. You are God. You are God.
Yeah, you're creating a life. I mean, in a weird way.
If you believe in that old, you know, the biblical God who created, you know, the earth in what was it, 7 days?
Yeah.
Crazy stories.
Yeah.
Then is not every animator out there like the epitome of God? Totally.
Yeah, and I wish animation only took 7 days.
Right. Yeah, I guess you're a god if you can animate in 7 days. That's when you're a god.
That's the classification right there. Yeah, you are definitely a god.
And not that like shitty animation. We're talking good animation.
Yeah, hand drawn animation.
Yeah.
Although those South Park guys, they do it. I mean, they don't animate, but they do it, and they write and do it in like 6 days or something. It's insane.
Yeah, well, they got a big team.
They got a team.
They use like Cinema 4D too, I heard, which is ridiculous considering how like crude. Like they go for that crude look,
right?
But they use like 3D.
You know, when it's when you see them doing it, that whole documentary thing, like it's amazing how much work goes into that show. Because they purposely make it kind of crappy looking.
Yeah,
but I think even that is kind of hard work.
Like Mike Judge, and you know that was his deal with Beavis and Butthead, and King of the Hill. He wanted to make it look kind of crappy.
Again, like another hero, like you hear his story of. In his garage, just every day, like no sleep, just animating Beavis and Butthead, like because that is what he wanted to do, and unfortunately, as an animator, that's what you have to do. I mean, it is so much work. The process of doing it, like, you know, our intro for Big Fat Cat it took me 3 months. I mean, that's from conception to storyboarding. To animatic, to, you know, mainframes, to in between frames, to then inking it, to then coloring it, to then shading it, to then doing the backgrounds.
Yeah.
Music. I mean, it's like insane. It's insane the amount.
Yeah.
Of work.
I mean, when you actually animate yourself, you realize why the credits on animations are just super long.
They're super long.
Like you would never get it. You'd never get any show done ever if you're doing it all yourself. No. It's impossible.
And a lot of it's done overseas.
Yeah.
And I think
Korea,
yeah. And it's sort of heartbreaking to you because, like, you know, what's that? Adventure Time, right? Mm-hmm. Adventure Time. I've seen a bunch of behind the scenes stuff on it, and you know, like one of the guys, he's like. They call them, you know what? They don't call them storyboarders, I don't think, but maybe they do. But they're basically considered the writer of the show, which I didn't know. I don't know if you knew that.
The storyboard artists?
Yeah. At least that's what this guy said, and at least that's with Adventure Time. And that could be totally different with other companies.
I'm hopefully going to get my friend who worked on Adventure Time to come on, and I'll get him to explain a bunch of stuff.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you should ask him about that because I found that really interesting because I didn't know that. I thought storyboarding was just part of the process, but I thought you actually like wrote a script. But that's actually not true.
No, you do. They do write scripts. I know for a fact they write scripts. Right. But then there's this whole other phase. Like the writing phase, nobody's working as far as I know. There's the writers go away, they write, and then as the storyboards come in, then they're rewriting and they're all working together to change it and come up with better ideas and make it better.
Right. Yeah. And so it's all, but then you're sort of heartbroken by saying like, okay, here this guy storyboards it, and it's like, okay, all right, Korea, do everything, you know, and it's, I don't know.
I mean, I
don't know why it's not.
Some people do it. Some people find a way to do it here in the States. And do it. You know, like I'm pretty sure Miyazaki, he does it all at studio. He's amazing because he did it in house or whatever at Studio Ghibli, as far as I know. But it's
not
it's kind of
all
unheard
like
of. It's
that,
a very
yeah.
rare thing.
Yeah, they're not all like that. And a lot of it, like Adventure
It's-
Time, I'm
it's
pretty
just
sure
money.
started out.
It's just a money
Yeah.
thing. It's like it's not economically viable if you don't do it that way.
Right. Yeah, and maybe they're extremely fast. I don't know. I mean,
Fast and cheap. It's,
Yeah,
it's
fast
the
and
it's
cheap.
it's the
which is also
unfortunate.
unfortunate. I mean,
It's unfortunate, for
It's
sure.
unfortunate, but in betweening sucks.
Yeah.
Doing in between is just a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy it, but it is.
Yeah,
at
I think
times
I think there is like you can get to a place where you enjoy it, but then it's just like months are going by, and if you're a visionary, as I believe you are,
Yeah.
it's like you can't be doing that. You have to delegate. You have to go do something else now. You can't be sitting there in betweening.
Yeah, exactly, and that again, it comes down to marketing. I mean, it all interweaves with each other, is what I'm realizing. Everything informs each other. Like, yeah, you animate, maybe it's funny, maybe it's like the greatest cartoon ever made, but if you're not out there hustling the marketing side, forget it. Like, why did you even make it? Like, there's no point, because no one's gonna see it, and
Yeah.
then you don't have time. Now I don't have time to animate, like, because I'm over here hustling on this side, like, even doing Patreon, like, for a cartoon, or how this is like you got to set up a lot of stuff, and you got to maintain that audience engagement, and so
Everything is a new thing that you have to market too. It's not just like you're marketing one thing
Yes.
through all these things. You're marketing. I don't know how to think about it yet. I'm
Yeah.
trying to situate it. But you're kind of marketing all these things. Like you can't be selling like the product and the cast and the Patreon. You have to kind of pick one to push with each post. You know what I mean? So you're kind of like you're cross promoting everything, but you're kind of just you have to always pick one because people have short attention spans, and if you overload it, it's just like nobody cares. Nobody wants to watch all that, or listen to all that.
it's a delicate process, but just like anything that you and I do, it's a thing you learn by failing at, right? So, sort of going back to the conversation of just doing something, like no Nike quotes here, but just like just make.
Are we not allowed to say that? Does that
gosh.
ruin my ability to post this?
It completely
where I
ruined-
could sell this.
No, it ruins the saying, because when you say it immediately, it doesn't matter who it is, thinks of Nike, like
Yeah.
which marketing
Shia
wise,
LaBeouf.
and what? Oh yeah, the GIF with the yeah. So you just make it, and
Just make it.
you fail really hard, like, and the reason I say that is because just like anything, just like experience of animating, just like experience of shooting something, video work, whatever it may be, you have to suck at it first, like, but you also have to show people it. You can't suck at it in a bubble. It's not going to help you. Like, you have to make it, show it to people, and feel bad about yourself.
Yeah, it's not just failing in your room. You got to
No.
fail and be humiliated by it.
You have to.
You have to hear user feedback,
Yeah.
comments. You have to hear the worst of it. Some of it's going to hurt, and it's going to be just needless hurt and pain, like just people being assholes. But some of it's literally what you need to use to help
Yeah.
you change it and fix it and grow it.
And it's your own voice too,
Yeah.
saying,
Oh yeah.
you're
Well,
terrible.
we
This is
are our
crap.
own
This is
worst
total
harshest
garbage.
critics.
What are you doing? Like, why
Yeah.
are you doing this? Why? And so it's just like anything. You get used to it, and marketing's no different. Like,
Tough, thick
just do
skin.
it, fail at it. Like, and I have an advertising background, but yet here I am, and I struggle with the thought of marketing. And
I
it's
think
so
I think
funny.
that's
It's
that's
like,
what it doesn't matter where you've worked or who you know. Like when you finally take the big leap, the big step into doing what you are and what you want to do, you're at the ground. You know, you have not, it doesn't matter if you know the agencies or whatever. They can help you, and I'm sure you probably have some insight that other people don't have.
Right.
But in the end, you're starting from scratch. It's like, here I am, raw, naked, nothing, and you don't have unlimited funds like corporations do, or a lot of everybody's borrowing money, so a lot of these corporations don't even have money either. But yeah, I mean, you literally have to be very careful about the money that you spend, as opposed to a corporation or a big company that's going to just spend hard.
yeah,
fast.
which is kind of good in a way, because with that comes restraints. You've got restraints, so you have to work within that. So you got to figure out how to do something interesting with very little. And some of the best advertising out there is done from a very tiny budget. And that's just because they got something approved, maybe it's a smaller shop, maybe, you know, the client just didn't have enough money and they've got something to prove, so they approve something that's a little crazy, you know.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's totally fine. The thing that I realized was that this entire process of making all this stuff, that I was doing it with the idea of like, I don't need your money. I don't need it. Like, I'll just make it, you know? And I think that it comes from a lot of places, but I think it's sort of wrong, unfortunately.
It's a wishful, naive
It's
sort
a
of
wishful,
approach.
naive thing, and I think that's
But-
okay to be naive about that, because I didn't know. You know, I just was like, well, I can now code an app. I can animate. I can do
No, I'm with you.
advertising.
I like it. I like the attitude. It's like I actually, because you don't need the money just to get it going, just to get it,
You
just to
don't.
get the spark of the idea.
Yeah.
I mean, that the money doesn't create the idea. I feel like things that are like money down, they're destined to fail. People, no one's going to be inspired. Like the things that succeed, it's corny, but it's because there's people, or one person, or many people who like have a passion. It was like a dream, or maybe it wasn't even a big dream. It was just a good idea that they wanted to put their heart in, their minds and their hearts in and stuff. And that's not where the money, you know, the money doesn't inspire that necessarily, I think.
Yeah, not necessarily. I think that there has to be a balance, and I think when you do something that you love, right, you're very passionate about it, and you can just make it happen.
Yeah.
But, you know, going back to the marketing bit of it, I learned two things. One is that you really do need the money for marketing.
Yeah.
I mean, all those little monies that you need to pay to, like, Facebook, God forbid, if you want to market on there, or whatever it is, like sponsored content on Instagram, or even just smaller little Google, you know, whatever it is, like you do need that funding for that.
Yeah.
And there's been movies killed because the publishing company decided, you know, we're not going to put a lot of market in this.
Yeah.
And then no one hears about it.
Totally.
And, you know, you would think, oh, like, Miramax made this, or Sony made this. And you're like,
Yeah.
of course a lot of people are going to know about it. But if they don't put marketing budget behind it, you will not hear about it.
Absolutely.
You know, unless, I mean, a very small percentage of, like, it's a cult, like, you know, word of mouth thing, which is just, like, so rare, you know. And so you need money for that. And then the other thing you need money for is to pay your rent. And so those are the two big things I realized. So if I just got the money to pay rent, I'd be fine. Because I'll just, you know, fake it till I make it. I'll just, like, make the stuff until it becomes something that does make money, or whatever it is. But you do need to make rent money. And so a lot of this stuff I stopped doing because I'm like, well, I need to go back to freelance. And then when you do freelance, you're exhausted. Like, you know, like,
Yeah.
you're doing all you can to...
It's a perpetual catch-22 that we like individual creatives face every day. It hurts.
Yeah, it's a back and forth. It's just, it's a tug and pull. It's a weird saying. It's a tug and pull.
How's it going today, Wheeler? Oh, you know, I'm tugging and pulling.
You know that classic saying, tug and pull? Yeah. But, you know, it's, that's the hustle. That's the struggle. That's what we all...
I respect it, man. I admire it. I think a lot of people do. It's like there's like two ways to be. You get that job that's like flashy and, you know, it's status and people respect you.
Which is
great.
great.
That money coming in and that looks good on the resume thing. That is great. But honestly, it's like if you do have these things you want to do, I went through it for years. You're fooling yourself if you're not, you know, hustling on like hardcore on the side, if not just hustling all the way in, you know, just go all the way in. Don't, like, it's a struggle because we do have to pay rent. It's a real thing, and I'm just lucky right now. Like, jobs are kind of coming my way.
Oh yeah.
I'm not like really going out and looking for work.
Right.
You know, a lot of that is me like putting myself out
you
there,
did.
and people respond to me because I put myself out there.
Right.
But like the things that are really paying my rent, it's not that type of work. It's like the video and the editing and the shooting and stuff. You know,
Yeah,
it's like,
your quote unquote your job, right?
Yeah.
And the thing that pays the bills. Like,
yeah.
You know, like I design. That's what I do for a living. You know,
Yeah.
that pays the bills, but it's not it's not necessarily what I want to do in the end. Like there's all these other things I want to make.
Right.
And so, but going back to you, like you did at one time have to look for work. Like you did have that struggle. I mean, thankfully you don't have that now, but you did a lot of work to get to that point.
I mean, to say I don't look for work is wrong. I do. I look, I talk, but I'm lucky
Yeah.
where I'm not like
Right.
having to apply constantly, and it's mostly word of mouth and mostly me
Yeah.
saying, "Hey, fish my name by that person," or like,
yeah, which is nice.
and my name gets handed around. Word of mouth
But-
is a big thing.
But regardless, like you still have to do that work, and it is work.
Totally.
So then when you go home, or
Yeah.
whatever, you go, oh man, I need to do another little sequence of this storyboard or this animation, or I need to draw a little bit, and you just look at the screen, and you're just like,
The tug and
Forget
pull,
it.
It's wearing me out.
oh yeah, here we go. This is gonna be the
I
podcast.
can't stop it, man. If you drop little pearls like that, I ain't gonna let them go.
Yeah, that's my that's unfortunately my in advertising.
It's gonna be your photo chop. I'm gonna cut up
Oh,
your face.
no.
Yeah, I'm kidding.
Yeah, it's gonna be
I'm
a
not
gif
gonna
of
be mean
me.
about that.
Tug and
Maybe
pull.
I'll do that. GIF sounds like.
Oh yeah, thanks.
GIF.
Yeah, when you work in advertising, they have all these crazy terms when you're working in an agency, and each agency is fascinating. They have their own terms,
Yeah.
but all of them equally ridiculous. Like, you just kind of add like ing or lee or ish or whatever it is. Like you just add that to the end of a word, and it becomes like a word suddenly. And you do that in front of clients too. It's just like totally bizarre. Like you just make up these words, and
there's that
and
guy
you just
who,
kinda get
who
it.
does the one ish that everyone's like,
yeah,
oh, you said that. Like,
Yeah,
like everybody else says like really inappropriate shit, and the one guy says one ish that everybody just cringes at.
yeah. You know who's really good at that is Eric. He's really good at that.
Is he?
He's really good at making up words.
Mixonisms.
Mixonism. That's
Yeah,
right.
he doesn't make people cringe. He's good, fun with the puns.
Fun with the puns. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
I do like puns. Do you like puns?
I love him. Yeah, I'm trying to get him to write his mixonisms down. It's a hard task, but if he
know.
does, we'll make a book someday.
I think I opened an Instagram account or something. I tried.
Did you?
Yeah, I tried to like. I think it was mixonisms or something.
No
Like,
shit.
yeah, I wanted to write them down, and I had my phone up every time he said something.
I catalog some of them. Some of them are too good to let go.
Oh yeah, they're way too good. There was one he said, we were out one night, and I was like, all right, so this didn't work out. I don't know, whatever we were doing. And I was like, what's plan B? And he was like, plan B? There's no plan B. This is plan it. I was like, oh, that's so good. It's like, I know that's not a pun,
No,
but it's just a total
clever.
mixonism.
It's just
It's
clever,
like,
funny
it's just
stuff.
hilarious.
Yeah, I don't mind stretching. Mixonism is not a pun. Mixonism is not a synonym for a pun.
Yeah.
It's just a really clever word play.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But he was a strategist, so it's I feel like it's this strategists mostly make up these words because they make these briefs, and in the brief they have to get you inspired, and so there's all these like
Right.
meaty words, that like
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah.
I digress.
You do. You do digress.
Yeah,
We digress.
we digress.
Are we off? Should I bring us back into something? So I mean, I don't know. Do you feel like you've said everything you want to say about Vert? Because you explain what it's about. You taught yourself coding. You talked about the different incarnations. I love that it went through that phase where it was the dating app. I think it's kind of hilarious and amazing and awesome. And it's like
so weird.
A lot to talk about there.
Yeah.
So I think you already said it, but how long? 3 years you said that's been in the works?
No, not in the works. It was 3 years ago that I did it.
Okay.
It was in its first incarnation.
Right.
And then
Right, you're not working on it for 3 years straight.
No,
but
no.
But it's been around for 3 years.
No, it's one of those things where
It's like you were just saying. You have to go back to the jobs.
had to go back to the jobs, but I talked to a friend of my girlfriend's, and I don't know if this is like off topic or something, but he just said this thing that was like so magical to me. Where I was talking to him about vert specifically.
You guys were rubbing unicorn horns, weren't
We
you?
were rubbing unicorn horns and getting all the dust everywhere. And you know, I was telling him about the fears I had and how much you know, God, it sucked that I stopped doing that and all this whatever stuff.
Right.
And you know, I asked him, I was like, well, how do you know, like, when you make something? Oh, sorry. Let me give you some background on this guy. So he created his own app. So he's out there hustling, right? He's been doing it for a while. He's pretty successful at it as well. And so, you know, I'm like, how do you know if you're doing anything that even matters? Like, if anyone even cares? Like, how do you even know? How do you know when to stop? How do you know? At what point do you know when to, like, I'm sorry everyone for this word, but pivot? You know, how do you know when to pivot?
Very overused word in the tech world.
Oh, so overused, and I hate using it. But for lack of a better word,
We're gonna
how
get
do
the
you-
MVP and we're gonna pivot and
yeah, all the jargon.
yeah.
And so he said this thing that just really resonated with me. And he said, there's a lot of people doing a lot of things. And I call this the flare theory. The flare, I'm sorry, I'm bouncing around. And if it's hard to follow, I apologize. But I call this the flare theory. The flare theory is just that when you have an idea, whatever idea that may be, you have essentially launched a flare into the universe. And everyone on Earth can see it. And they see that idea. And it's implanted immediately in several other people's head. And at that point, it's all about who makes it. Who actually makes that thing? Because at that very moment, a lot of other people had the same idea.
I like the flare thing. It's a little desperate though. It's a little bit like, save me.
Yeah,
I
maybe
need help.
flare means like save me. But there's just something about like this big bright thing in the sky.
I got you.
Where,
I know what you're saying.
you know, and I've just always said that, and so I said that to him, and he's like, I have that same thing, and what he says about it is that a lot of people are going to be making the same thing. Maybe it's even already made, but in a way, it doesn't really matter because along the way, people are going to drop out, and that's for a variety of reasons. But one reason is fear, and so this goes back to that question. He's like, don't ever stop doing what you're doing out of fear.
Yeah.
Because that is nothing. Fear is nothing. It's something you're doing to yourself.
Well, fear is something, but
No, what I mean, it is something, but I'm just saying it doesn't really mean anything as far as like what you're doing. Like
90% of the time, it's a construct in your own mind.
Yeah. And he's saying if you make it and you put it out there and you see it's happening, you're going to know. You're going to know when to switch. You're going to know when to stop because it's happening, not because of fear. Because fear means you just stopped for no reason. I mean, honestly, like I get that fear is a thing, but in that aspect, it kind of is nothing because you've just stopped out of fear, which is like terrible. Like you didn't even do it. Like you didn't even.
I've been writing down, like I've been trying to catalog and figure out how to organize my life, and I have like roadmaps for every project, and they're all in varying degrees of finish and unfinished.
Yeah.
But part of it is like an overarching, like I guess, philosophy or life view for me as personally as an artist, but also for my company, Studio Cinco, and like it's that I haven't worked on in depth yet, but I think I'm definitely gonna like at the front, like the sort of outlining, organizing principles are gonna straight up, if it's not obvious, they're fears. It's just like these are the fears. This is how we overcome them. These are because fear is usually an indication of a roadblock that's up ahead or something that's gonna stop you or straight up just kill you, you know?
But
So
that's
it's like
that's
you
your
write
fear,
them
though.
down. You
Yeah.
write them down, and then that's a better way to plan for the future. It mitigates risk, and it eliminates wishful thinking, naive, hopeful, wishful thinking. Instead, I think go straight to the fear. That's like the greatest fucking philosophy you can have
Right.
if you want to succeed or do anything. Really.
Yeah.
That's the Pit, the People's Improv Theater. That's their motto. So I'm not taking it
Wait,
from
what's
them.
their motto?
Go to the fear. I think I could be wrong, but I think
Go to the fear.
Yeah, when you're doing improv at the Pit.
Yeah, it's like facing your fears, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's funny the way you put it,
It's not a
though.
corny cliche. I mean, it sounds like a cliche, but it's absolutely the smartest way to go about doing anything. It's like, all right, you want to do this thing? You have your dreams. Write down the fluffy stuff. That's cool. But write down the shit that scares you. That's actually more helpful to
Right.
getting to where you got to go. Because in the end, everybody fails. And fear or failure, whatever it is that stops you, if you didn't see it coming, then you're just blindsided by it. But if we're smart. All of us are. Even the dumb ones among us. I'm not the smartest person in the world.
Yeah.
But I'm smart enough to stop and think, all right, this is going to lead to that. That's probably what I'm really good at. I think I'm better than most people. I'm like, I can picture all these things going wrong, and I'm like, those are my fears, and writing them down is the most helpful thing.
But do you think that your fears are actually true? Because you say it as
some of them
if-
are. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah?
I think some of my best friends know me as like this overthinker who just is wild and crazy, and he's overthinking, making things up. But I know for a fact, like if I'm gonna make a movie, if I could jot down 10 really real fears that are not just personal to me, personal to anybody who's gonna make a movie. Things that are gonna just kill you. You'll be dead in your tracks before you even get the film made. And then one of the biggest ones, the fear of marketing. It's like it's not that I have a fear of marketing. I have a fear of the unknown around
Yes,
it. Fear of
exactly.
lack of money. Fear of being part of a bigger entertainment engine,
Right.
and then having somebody up top say, "We're taking the money out of this. We're not funding it anymore." That's
Yeah.
kind of out of my hands. I can't control that fear, but you can mitigate if you know that's a possible risk. You can plan for it in a way, and like you can have
Right.
maybe other friends in some other advertising agency ready to back you up or something. I don't know.
So I guess that's what I mean. There's a couple of good points in there, which is that a knowledge of something that could happen is not necessarily a fear. It's a knowledge
Right.
of it. So a fear is something is I think the definition of fear is the unknown, is not knowing what could happen, right? And so it is the fear of unknown. And so if you never did marketing before, you're going to fear it because you're like,
Right.
I don't know, where do I start? How do I do this? I don't know. Like, and then you just don't do it. I guess that's the point of that saying. Don't stop out of fear, stop out of knowing. And so I think that's
Fear, an unpleasant emotion caused by the belief that someone or something is dangerous, likely to cause pain or threat. Of course, there's other definitions too.
I think
yeah.
maybe it should be a definition of it, but
The unknown.
I think yeah,
I'm sure it is if you go down and read the other. I mean,
It makes sense.
There's a fear for everything. Like
Yeah.
people are afraid of dumb shit, right? Like
If you
things
go-
that, like how can you be afraid of that? But you're afraid of that. Okay.
Yeah, you-
respect. I respect your fear.
Right, you go bungee jumping, like you don't know what it's like.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah,
Well,
you
that
could-
I'm afraid of.
well, yeah, you
That
get-
I get.
I mean, me too, but you could be afraid of it snapping. But again, okay, if you're afraid of it snapping, that is a fear of the unknown, right? It is like, I don't know if it's gonna snap. I don't know what's gonna happen. Am I gonna hurt? Is my leg gonna be pulled off?
Oh, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
There's all the fear is of the unknown. So don't stop what you're doing because you don't know.
Totally.
Stop because you do know. And,
Yeah.
and I think that's the real saying is like, yeah, I think that's it. I don't know. I feel like I've gone on and on about it, but
Well, how does it relate back to what that guy was saying? Because he was saying, just bring me back there again. He's
saying,
don't quit because
don't quit because of fear.
yeah,
Quit because you know,
right.
and you will
Because
very
you know
quickly.
the idea isn't worth pursuing anymore. And then
Yeah,
but even then, because like I feel like I'm a kind of on the inspirational side when I'm talking to friends making things.
Yeah,
It's like even then, when you think you have a good idea, I'm always like, but don't quit. It's like, especially when it's like
yeah,
business or art or
yeah. Even then, you still don't know, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you could get all kinds of feedback.
quitting is a weird thing because it's like sometimes you really should quit. You really should
Yeah.
move on, get the fuck out of Dodge, move on to bigger, better things or whatever.
But
But then it's like,
Yeah.
but then you're a quitter. It's tricky.
Yeah,
I don't
quitting
know.
is fine. I don't see anything wrong with quitting. I think quitting is a good thing. Quitting your job.
Oh yeah, I've quit plenty of things for
quitting
good
your
reasons. over the
girlfriend or
years.
boyfriend. I mean, I don't know. Like, quitting.
I'll never quit you though.
Thanks, buddy. Likewise. We'll never quit doing this podcast. We're just gonna talk forever.
Right. We're live streaming the rest of our life through Vert.
Sitting in this chair, just becoming fat, pudgy.
Infinite Vert.
Infinite Vert. Yeah, I guess I derailed the conversation, but
How dare you?
but yeah,
I invite you here to my podcast and you derail the conversation. No,
I don't know. I
it's
feel
great,
like
man.
I feel like I've been all over the place.
This is totally what podcasting or my podcast is about. At least it doesn't need to be super focused or anything. We're having conversations on
we're
this
just talking.
podcast, and they do not need to be hyper focused on anything.
Yeah, all you future guests should know. You should know what this is like.
Yeah. What's it like? How's it been so far?
It's nice. It's very comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah, you supplied water, which was very nice.
I did.
You supplied me with these new microphones. That's good.
Yeah, you're my guinea pig.
Yeah, I like it. You were saying that you liked the sort of idea of talking around a mic because it felt more conversational, but there's something like, at least for me,
It's
maybe
fun.
you other future
I'm
guests or
having
past
fun.
guests.
I enjoy this right now.
Yeah, it
Feels official.
you feel like you're kind of hiding behind it.
I
Just
see
kinda
you. I
like,
see you. I hear you.
like,
and I
don't
see
look
you.
at me, and don't look at me, audience. I don't know.
Give me your best NPR voice right now.
I would just like to say that this mic is very comfortable. It gives me safety. It grounds me.
Your
Makes me-
NPR voice is a whisper. I have to turn the volume all the way.
Okay,
And then you
wait.
switch to a laugh that I have to turn the volume all the way down.
Okay, wait. Yeah, I'm making Ian work right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so whisper.
Live mixing right here, people. I got the skills, baby.
Okay, here we go. You ready?
I'm ready.
Hello. No, I can't do it. Now I'm in my head. Hello and welcome to Ian's podcast. No, see, I start whispering.
Oh yeah, do it.
No, I start whispering
Make an
now.
intro up to the podcast, please.
Oh, okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Short, Bald, and Angry. And today we're going to be talking with Wheeler Preddy about all kinds of things. And, welcome. And grab a coffee, grab a seat, maybe grab a apple popcorn, and we'll just get everything gets started. Oh, sorry, I fell asleep.
Hey, stay with us, buddy. We're entertaining here.
Wow,
right?
you know what? Weirdly, I got lightheaded doing that. That is so weird.
That is weird, man.
Ugh.
Yo, I've been doing hot yoga.
Oh, I got really lightheaded. That was very strange. Maybe I should see a doctor about that.
I've been doing hot yoga, and literally, like, you're up, you're down, you're looking.
Yeah.
It's like I'm always about to pass out. I feel like it's
Oh, yeah.
inevitable. I'm gonna pass out at hot
Oh,
yoga.
no,
it's
it's the
gonna be the
worst.
most humiliating thing.
Do you drink a lot of water?
Well, not during it.
Like, do you
You're supposed to drink a bunch before and after.
Oh, yeah.
But
Definitely before.
during it, I'm pretty good. I have stamina.
Yeah, that's good.
I've played some sports. I've been through practice.
I've been sports before.
I'm sportified. Yeah.
That's good. I like that. That was a good accent.
Thank you. I grew up on Long Island, but you'd never know.
Yeah. The funny thing is, I grew up in Texas, and
You
so
did.
I can do this accent, and a lot of people come up to me and they're just like, Wheeler, can you? I just wish you
Can you
had.
just be yourself, goddammit?
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah, quit being fake, Wheeler. Just get that accent out there.
Oh my God.
But a lot of people go, "Oh, you're from Texas? I wouldn't have noticed." And I'm like, "Well, thank you."
Did you used to have, like, a lot of my friends?
Yeah, when I was
used
a-
to have more of a twang and it
Yeah,
went away.
yeah, when I was a kid, for sure. But I saw a video of me at like a family reunion.
Oh, can you find that and send that to me the next week?
No. Are you about to cut to it right now? No,
I
I'm not
wish. I
sending
want
it.
to. That'd be awesome.
And
Everybody always says no to that. I asked another guest if he could send me a childhood photo of him, and he was like, "No, we're not happening."
No, it's best left behind.
I suppose
leave that for,
I
like,
suppose
girl-
there's plenty of stuff I don't want anyone to see too.
Oh yeah, nobody. I mean,
But I'm trying to go to the Fear, man. What do you got on me? Bring it out.
the fear you want?
I'm going to the Fear. Something that's like potentially humiliating to me. I need to overcome it. I don't want it, rest like over my head.
What fear are you talking about? What
Just
fear do you
all
have?
those
Ian?
nude photos of me, and sex tapes, and all that.
Somehow
stuff.
I don't think that would be your fear. Is a bunch of nude photos of you getting out.
Yeah. My greatest fear is doing stand-up comedy. That's like,
Oh God.
because I love comedy, and there's like comedy is a huge element. It will be a huge element in everything I do from here on in forever and always. But to actually do stand-up comedy, that is terrifying. I would still to this day, rather like go to war or run away or something like that.
I would say then do it.
Not happening anytime soon. But I have been going to quite a few comedy shows, and it's like, wow, I am definitely not ready for this. I mean, you have to write material. You have to go through that phase where you bomb.
No.
And you have to.
You don't have to write material. You know what?
yeah,
Like,
true.
Like,
Anybody can just get up at some of these amateur
fuck it.
nights, but
just get up there and just tell some horrible jokes that you not like canned jokes, but again, this goes back to like, I think fear makes you grow. Like,
absolutely.
if
But
you are
going
afraid-
to the fear makes you grow.
going to the fear makes you grow. If you're afraid of doing stand up, go and do it, because you're actually going to be a better person, not a better comedian. You might be.
I don't know though, because comedy is weird. Does being a good comic make you a better person, or does it make you just a more open, honest, nasty, negative, depressed person?
I listen to a bunch of podcasts where they're comedians, and they all say that they're terrible people.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
They have horrible childhoods.
So maybe the
this is what
comedy
makes
makes
them
them
funny.
better. Like the comedy balances them out, perhaps. I don't know. You'd have to ask them.
Well, I mean,
I'm gonna hopefully get some serious comedians on here.
Well, they're all afraid. They're all afraid.
Oh yeah, they all
get up
have
there.
that story where they bombed and they were terrified, they
and
puked.
they didn't want to do it again.
Yeah,
and so I don't know. That's what this podcast is about, or this conversation. It's all about fear.
it is. It's
Face your fears.
emerging as the big topic. Yeah.
Be Batman. Face your bats and rise up in it
Find
while
your
they're
cave.
swirling around
Find
you.
your inner cave.
Yeah,
Go there.
Find your bat. And,
Stroke the bat. Don't let the bat bite you. You bite the bat.
Make out with the bat.
Sometimes the bat makes out with you, and sometimes you make out with the bat.
That's real deep. That's deep. That's real deep.
Yo, dude, we're at an hour and 10 minutes. We're going strong here.
Oh, man.
You got another 20 in you? What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like I keep dodging this question of what vert is. It's like you ask me it, and then I just drift off into some existential.
It's cool. This
thing.
isn't like a promote. This is promotional. It's sort of promotional, but it's
Yeah.
like a fun conversation, man.
Yeah, you should all check it out.
Yo, dude,
though.
I'll take us somewhere that we have to go. What makes you angry, man? This is Short, Bold, and Angry Podcast.
Oh,
I make
no.
everybody talk about anger. There's got to be something out there.
Ugh.
I've met very few people who don't get angry. Even like the most zen people out there, they have something that makes them get a little nutty.
I try to prepare for this question, and I feel still like
That's right. It doesn't have to be a profound answer.
Well,
When was the last time you were angry?
I was laying in bed with my girlfriend, and I told her that I was going to be on your podcast, and I was like, he's going to ask me this question. He's going to ask me, what do you get angry about? And she's like, oh, I could tell you. Just like,
Should we call her up right now? Can we just
quick?
Can we call her up and she can tell us?
No, she's busy right now. And I was like, I can't believe you came to a conclusion so fast. I don't want anyone to think that I get angry at her. That's not what I'm saying right now. I'm just saying, I thought it was really funny because
She's listening and getting angry right now.
I know, and she's like,
what did he say?
Oh, I can tell you. I'll tell everyone. But anyway, so I feel super unprepared because I would say, and you're going to hate this answer. It's not an answer. It's an unanswer. But I see him like putting all these knobs. He's like doing a couple of tweaks.
You're just getting.
I get loud.
You gotta
and then
stay
I get
close
soft.
to the
And
mic.
I get loud, and then I get soft.
I'm a live mixer, man.
I like it.
A multidisciplinary podcast host.
DJ Ian. That was a terrible foghorn.
Answer the goddamn question. Quit evading the question.
I know, I'm evading it. I'm totally evading it.
Just say it, man. If it's a bad answer, I'll get angry and then we'll move on.
Okay, perfect. No, I try and stay away from anger, and that's not to say that I don't get angry at things, but I try and zen out from it, I think, because I don't like it. I think I come from a place of like anxiety and anger. I think my dad's side of the family like has that natural propensity to like go to a place of anger. And I think for a few years, I had heart palpitations. And what that is, if you don't know, is you feel your heartbeat. And it's almost like an anxiety thing. Like, I felt my heartbeat every day, every minute, every hour. When I slept, when I woke up, when I sat on a train, I could feel my heart. And it's the worst. It's the worst for 2 years. Yeah. And I didn't know why. I saw doctors, I saw all this stuff. And one of my doctors sat me down, and I went there for a reason. And it had to do with me just trying to figure out what the hell is going on with me. And instead of actually like seeing me as a doctor, he literally like sat me in a chair in his office. He's like, "No, let's go to my office." I'm like, okay. And he's like, "Wheeler, what's going on with you, man?" He's like, "What's going on in your life?" And I just started telling him all this stuff. And he goes, "Look, man, you saw this doctor, you saw this doctor." And he's like, "There's nothing wrong with you." He's like, "There's absolutely nothing wrong with you." He's like, "You just need to chill out." He's like, "You're high strung, you're anxiety ridden, you have all this stuff going on, and you just need to like realize that and chill out, because you're causing all these problems." And and when I walked out of that doctor office, I had none of the issues. And I still have it.
It was like it was like a switch?
It was a switch, because I did not know. I didn't know that being stressed out like that would cause you to have all these problems, like stomach problems, urinary problems, whatever it is, like to have all these problems. And nothing was wrong with me except that I was just like really stressed out, and I had all this anxiety, and I didn't know that was the thing. And so when I walked out of that office, I haven't had it since. And if I feel it coming on, I know what it is, and I can go, hey, like, chill out. Like, there's no reason to get worked up about this. And I know that's like a sort of an unanswer, and I do get angry about stuff, but I try and like stay away from it, because I know that it's only going to cause me problems, and I like it that way. But there's a lot of stuff to be angry about, I guess, like with everything going on.
Yeah, I like that answer, honestly, man. It's better than like, because a cop-out answer would be like, Trump makes me angry. It's like, fucking Trump makes everybody angry. He's an asshole.
Yeah,
but like that's solid. Because honestly, I call it the Short, Bald, and Angry podcast, not because I'm actually ridiculously angry and hulking out everywhere I go. Like, I'm actually pretty chill. It's just because I think anger is like fear. It's a real thing. You need to kind of acknowledge it.
Yeah.
And if you find yourself getting angry, I don't believe it is always good to actually run away from it. It's better to turn and face it.
Yeah.
Depending on what it is, because some things are out of our you can't really control what Trump's doing. So you just got to find a zen around that and kind of ignore it to a certain extent.
Yeah, and I totally agree. And I think I more get like frustrated, maybe, than angry, and maybe that makes me angry, is like just frustration about things that happen in our world and in daily life. I get frustrated at them because I don't understand why they are the way they happen. Yeah.
I think one of my greatest sources of anxiety and frustration, which leads to anger, is do Yoda right now. Anger leads to, but fucking anger leads to. It's what you already talked about. We already talked about with you're doing your thing, but then you got to make the money. You got to go back to work. You got to do this. And that cycle is so anxiety inducing. It's great. That's literally what keeps me up at night. Like, I have a hard time going to sleep sometimes just because I'm like sitting there thinking about all the things I want to do, and I'm not going to get to them, and like
not enough time.
And I keep adding more things. Like the podcast is like blocking me from doing more things, but this is a very healthy, good thing. Is this not fun? Are we not having fun right now?
Yes, Ian. We're having so much fun.
Tell everybody how much fun you're having.
Why you have your fist near my face?
He's lying. We have phones proving that I'm a very nice host. There's a healthy distance between us, and I'm short. My arms are short.
Yeah,
can't reach him from here.
Yeah,
but I have my assistant behind him with his fists.
Yeah, off camera you can't see what's really happening.
Yeah,
it definitely keeps you up at night. you're constantly telling yourself, you're an idiot. You're so stupid for doing this. Just go back to work, make your money, like get a nice apartment. What the hell are you doing? You're an idiot. Like, no one cares. Like, you just constantly like tell yourself, it's just like we are our worst enemy all the time. And it's such a human thing for your brain to want to protect you from yourself, from not surviving, and that's basically what it is, right? Money is surviving, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's just like food. Like, you got to have it to survive. And your
the system
brain
isn't changing anytime soon. It's a fact of life.
Yeah, and that's, I mean,
if you're not paying for it, somebody is.
Yeah, it's fine, but it is part of your chemical balance to your brain, to survival instinct to you out of it, and say, hey, what you're doing is dumb. You need to stop.
Yeah.
Because you need to make money and you need to be fine and eat, okay? And
Do you ever
find
like a sense of like humiliation or embarrassment at being the creative person? Because there's like the side of the culture that's making the money. They got the status, they got the good clothes, they got the good cars, they got all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then when like I'm going by, I'm shooting, I got my camera, I got my gear, I'm out there shooting, I'm drawing, I'm like kind of goofy. I actually look like I can step out. I sometimes my friends take pictures of me. I'm like, oh damn, I'm that guy. I am that guy. I'm a cartoonist. Fuck it.
You look like that.
Fucking I am.
You know what I always think of is the Mary Poppins roof sweeper guy.
For you or for me?
Both.
For like being
you
the
got
creative
all
person.
your little like your symbols
Nice.
and your backpack that's a drum, and
Yeah.
you're just out there doing this.
Totally, man.
And you don't know
especially
if it's
with
working.
Where we
that you
started
look like
off,
an idiot.
we have to do so many things. So like, yeah, you showed up today. You got your bag. You got all your tripods, all your
gear,
gear. Yeah, it's like sometimes I'm walking around with literally like every inch of me is carrying something. I got something between my teeth, between my fingers, and I'm like, I tied something to my belt, and I can barely move out. I can't even get out the door. I'm like, damn it, I got to take something off because I can't fit out the door.
Yeah, and
that I actually
sometimes look at yourself. You're like,
I hate that shit.
Why are you doing this? This is ridiculous.
When I get that extreme, I'm like, what am I doing? Because A, I need to start delegating. B, I just need permanent help.
Is so hard.
Yeah,
Delegating is so hard.
well, without money, it's like I'm 35 now. I feel bad delegating when I have zero budget on 90% of the stuff I'm working on. So it's like the jobs that come in. I really wish I could be passing off some of the editing work, but the money's like right there where I'm like, no, I need all that. All going.
I actually need that $500.
Yeah, actually, I can't give that to anybody.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, man, I feel like we could talk forever. I feel because that's a whole nother subject that is a big fear of mine as well, which is not necessarily delegating. I love delegating. Like, I think it's just finding the people to help you, and some people are so natural at that. So some people are so good at just getting people to do stuff for free.
Born delegators.
It's not. Yeah, like. There are born delegators, but there's also these people that just like have this knack for just like, I need this thing.
I'm still good at it. I'm owed favors, and I'm
right.
just good at like getting people excited. But it's indecent, and there are con artists, and I've met plenty of them, and it's like I'm just one move away from being the con artist. So
that's what you
I don't
think.
Wanna,
I mean, you're probably not, but
it's very you're always right there on the line, being decent and indecent. It's like. It's a switch. It's perception. And people who don't know me, I'm sure there are people who have met me who've been like, who is this guy? Like, why is he getting away with this?
Right.
And people who know me and love me, they help me. They do it for free. But then some stranger comes in, they're probably like, what?
You're right. Maybe it's a fine line. I don't know. But unfortunately, you got to get shit done. I don't know, like how
I mean,
else
the next phase
like
is marketing, but also raising the funds. It's like I started taking some business classes, and I haven't fully processed all of it. It's not synthesized into my being and my essence. That's where like business plans really do come in handy, and like roadmaps and business plans. The roadmap is a sexy business plan. The business plan is the nitty gritty, and it's more than just marketing. It's like you break down everything. You got your financial section, and you got to pay for a ton of shit. So then you got to go out and you got to raise money, and it's like absolutely the next phase of life as we grow up. We got to just be fundraisers, and that's another thing. And then you got to delegate, and then you're not making your shit anymore, It's the unfortunate reality to grow.
It is a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
I don't know where it ends. I wish I knew more of the business side, and I want to go out there and learn, and I probably will.
You're just gonna do it. You're just gonna start doing it like you did everything else.
I'm just gonna
It's
start
become-
doing it, and
yeah.
it's terrible. I think because of just learning, like constantly learning a new thing, and you have to push stuff out.
That's where you keep learning and growing. You look to your idols and you dig in. You find their interviews and stuff because people have. Because there's a lot of discouraging talk around this where it's like, oh, no, you're never going to be creative again. You start a company, you're not designing anymore. You're not making art anymore. You're not doing that. Fuck that. But I don't believe that. I think there are people out there who've managed to tackle the business side without totally losing their creative side. I refuse to let go of it. That's my hope for the future.
Yeah.
As I grow into the businessman, I am not letting
Yeah.
go of my creative side.
I mean, in a lot of ways, I get why that happens. I'm sure you do too. Like,
I mean, it's
I
going to
get-
be a thing like going back to work. You're going to let go of it, and then a month, 2 months, a year goes by, and it's like, wow, I did nothing creative.
I didn't do it. I made
Yeah.
it. I didn't do anything with it. Yeah. Yeah.
But then you readjust, and then, you always find the way to... Life finds a way.
Life finds a way.
Creativity finds a way.
Cinco,
Yeah.
2018.
God, we're there already, aren't we? 2018.
Yeah.
Pretty futuristic number.
Address. Beep, 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 beep. That was me self-beeping your address
Thank you.
of the podcast.
We gotta do some. We gotta find some time to do some sketch comedy because, like, I got all the gear.
Oh, no.
I got some ideas written down. I know you're ready to do it. Everyone's ready to do it. I'm surrounded by people who are ready to shoot these funny little
Everyone's
sketches.
ready to do sketches.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm always down. I'm always down
Yeah.
to create
And-
whatever.
And then we'll start the band.
And then we'll start a band, and then we'll do a side podcast.
So what
And
was
then-
back the band? You did 1 tour, 2 tours? What did you play in the band? Did you sing and write songs?
It was just one tour. We collectively wrote the songs. I mean,
Nice.
sometimes most of the time I would just kind of come up with a lick, as they would say.
You were licking.
Yeah, I was licking, and it's weird. Yeah,
What
come
was
on.
the other one? Tug and rub? Not tug and rub.
Oh God, that's a very different thing.
All kinds of
I mean, I guess that's why it sounds weird.
innuendos popping off today.
Tug and
What was
pull
it?
and tug and pull.
Tug and pull.
Pull. Is that it? Now it sounds weird.
Tug and
I mean,
pull,
it sounded
like-
weird before, but it,
My friend Wheeler, he's a tug pull and liquor
oh,
from Texas.
that yeah, that sounds about right. We've been all over the place, so yeah, I'm a tug. I don't know what I am.
You're so much more than that, man.
I don't know. Like, yeah, we want to tour. I would start a riff or something, and then we would just kind of go from there. It was a lot of fun. But my mom was really happy that I didn't do that. She was always supportive, but once I said, oh, I'm gonna do design, she was like, oh, thank God. It was like you heard like a huge sigh of relief that, you're not gonna like sleep in a van and tour around and do this like music thing that only like a small percentage of people actually get famous at of, or make money. Not even forget the famous thing, but just even make money. Even
my
the
parents-
famous ones don't make money.
My parents, yeah, it's true. My parents are pretty supportive, like super supportive, not
Yeah.
pretty, like insanely supportive.
Yeah, same.
But I don't think my mom ever was really like liked what I do, really,
yeah,
or really like understood it half the time.
Right.
But she's loving this podcast, man.
No way.
Yeah,
really?
I'm getting more feedback from my mom on this podcast
Oh,
than I've
score.
ever had from her period on anything. And I think like people in general like aren't responding, but my mom, guarantee she's going to text me after she listens to this. That was lovely. I love I love that you guys are laughing. It's like,
Oh my gosh.
have your parents been mostly like how do they feel, the two of them? I mean, you
Always.
sound like pretty creative people, even though they might not want or open-minded people.
Always supportive.
Yeah.
Always hugely supportive of anything I would want to do. I told my dad like, oh, I'm gonna quit my job and do freelance, and he's like, I love that. He's like, that sounds like you. That sounds
man.
great.
I mean, if he was doing a venue, of course.
Yeah, but I
Yeah,
mean,
he gets it.
But not in a he doesn't know any better kind of way. It's not like that. Like he just.
Oh no, that's not what I'm
It's like
implying.
they
I'm implying
believe-
he's done it in a way. If he's
Yeah.
run his own venue, then he's like
Yeah.
an entrepreneurial kind of guy.
He's a
It's
very
where you get your
entrepreneurial
spirit,
guy.
probably. Yeah.
And so, yeah, they've just always been supportive. Even my mom, like, of course they want the best for me, but I think it more just comes from a place that they believe that I can do it. They're just like, yeah, you're gonna do that, great,
Yeah.
that sounds amazing. Like we're super proud of you. Like it's kind
Yeah.
of weird.
It always hurts me when I hear friends who have parents who just literally don't believe in them.
know.
I've
Like-
witnessed it. I've seen it so hard. It's just like, Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. And, I think that's something that can be your fuel in a way, like to overcome if
never
you're in
know.
that position.
You never know.
But
if,
it's so hard, man.
yeah, I
It
don't.
affects you to your core if your parents raise you like that.
But then you got the extreme where like a parent's just like, oh yeah, you want to, whatever it is, like, yeah, do that. And then it's terrible.
Like
Like
too
there's
loose?
at least no advice whatsoever.
Right.
Like I think that's maybe another extreme that's kind of terrible.
Yeah.
So it's just like a mix. But does your mom listen to podcasts in general?
I don't know. I have to ask her.
Yeah. 'Cause
I mean,
I find that interesting that the podcast is the one that she gravitates towards.
I mean, it
It's
makes sense.
interesting.
She watches like shows and stuff, like talk shows. I mean, the
Oh,
line
okay.
between like talk show and podcast and NPR and everything, it's like kind
Yeah,
of blurry.
radio, yeah,
Like
that
radio
makes
personalities
sense.
and TV personalities. It's like
Yeah.
I even think of like Jimmy Kimmel and not Jimmy Fallon and all those guys.
Oh, you're
Colbert.
right. Yeah, that is
Like in a way, like I
podcasts,
could
yeah,
I could
talk
turn this
shows.
into a variety show. I could have like a lightning round. I could have like
A lightning
I could do video component when we could bring on animals and stuff. Bring animals into the studio and
Oh yeah,
we could
can
like
we get some animals in here?
hell yeah. Besides Luna needs to get used to eagles and bats. And we were talking about bats.
Makes
I need to learn how to lick the bat. That's a fear of
You
mine.
gotta-
I'm afraid of licking bats. I want to overcome it.
Face your fear of licking a bat.
Yeah.
That's what this whole conversation has been.
It's all
about.
leading up
That's
to
what
the
it- that's
one
what it
thing.
all-
We're
that's
gonna
how-
I'm gonna get a whole like cage full of bats and all my friends over, and we all have to lick the bats at the same time.
and
Nobody
and then
gets out of this.
It's a fun party, that everyone enjoys.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean that's really how we end this thing.
I
is
think we're there.
lick a bat, tug and pull.
Don't tug and pull the bat.
Don't tug and,
Lick the bat.
lick the bat, tug and pull your life.
Tug and pull on your own time. In the privacy of your own
in-
goddamn home.
Don't do it out in the open. And face your fear and do a podcast because your mom will love it.
Yes, she will. If she doesn't love it, do it to spite her.
Oh no!
All right, man. Let's call it, man. This is
Okay.
a full hour and 30 minutes. This has been awesome.
This
Thank
is
you
good.
for coming
it,
on,
kinda,
man.
it went by really fast.
Yeah,
actually.
it goes quick. It's a conversation, and I hope that other future guests hear this because, I'm reaching out to people, and people are like, I don't know, I'm scared. It's weird. I've never done one.
Well,
But
it's-
fun.
it's-
It's fucking. I'm a chill dude. I'm easy to talk to.
Yeah, you're really easy to talk to, and this has been great. You definitely get nervous because it's like, I
Yeah.
don't know, you feel like you kind of have nothing to say, and even this,
Yeah.
I'm like wondering, I'm like, was this even interesting? Was this good? I have no idea.
Like the
it's
question you're asking the guy.
I-
You just put it out there, and it's
Yeah.
interesting to someone. It is interesting. It was interesting to me, man.
Yeah,
I
well,
appreciate
thanks.
everything you said.
yeah.
I learned. I'm sure when I go back and mix this, I'll actually because you can't process when you're going through it. When I'm mixing it, I'm listening to it over and over again.
no,
I'm
that
like,
was
I'll hear
terrible.
some good things in there. There was at least one good thing in there.
Yeah. Someone will like at least one thing in there. It'll probably be the pull and tug.
Yeah. Hey, if you didn't like it, please comment. Let me know.
Smash
I
that
want-
like button.
Yeah.
Hit that notification bell.
Please.
That's YouTube. I
Yeah.
don't know.
All of it.
Yeah.
Wherever you're getting it.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, man. This was nice. I haven't done something like this, so this is cool.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate it.
First time.
First time.
I popped your cherry.
Yeah, man.
Oh yeah.
Oh, can I
Yeah.
can I plug a bunch of website stuff?
Yo, we're just gonna
This-
drone. We're gonna drone on for another 10 minutes. Go
Okay.
for it, man.
This is gonna be my first plug ever.
Do it, man.
In my entire life that I've ever done. But yeah, go to vrtapp.com. That's vertapp.com. You can kind of see what we're all about. You can go to Big Fat Stupid Cat on Instagram and YouTube. And then, yeah, there will be a website there. I don't think there's a website right now for Big Fat Stupid Cat, but
You gotta have it all. You gotta have all the social media for it too. Every account.
Every single stinking account. But yeah, just like, I don't know. Check out what we're doing.
All these links are going to be in the description too. That's how I do it, man.
Oh.
You're going to send it to me.
Perfect.
It's all going to be there.
Well, then you could just cut that entire thing out,
I'm not.
Great.
Because that's the
keep
way
it
these
all
things
in.
go. I cut nothing. This is a lot of work. It's like crazy amount of work to get them ready to post.
You wouldn't think so.
So when
either.
I have to like start making cutting decisions, I draw the line at that. I'm like, unless somebody said something that's really bad,
Right.
that's going to hurt them.
Right.
Fuck you. I'm leaving it all in.
Very nice. That's very nice of you. You know, it's amazing to me, not to go on and on, but like how everything is more work than you think it is.
Totally.
If someone books you for something, let's say design or whatever it is, and you say, oh, it doesn't seem like that much work, I'm just going to charge this low amount. Well, don't do that, because it's going to be more work than you think it is. And it's always that way. Like, it doesn't matter what you're doing. Like podcasts, you're like, I'm going to start a podcast. Like, all these people do it, and you start doing it, and you realize you're like, oh,
I knew it was going to be a lot of work. But once you're in it, you're like, oh, fuck.
Well, but there are little things, even if you knew it was going to be a lot of work, there are little side things that you didn't realize is part of the work. And that fascinates me. Like, it fascinates me every time I start something. Like, no matter what it is.
Well, that's why I respect you, because you're one of those guys who actually does shit. A lot of people who talk about doing shit who don't do it, or a lot of people who manage to, they're good with the money and the sales and the talking, but they don't do shit. A lot of people good at starting shit that they don't actually know how to fucking do.
And that, you know,
I got respect for you because you do it, man.
Likewise, you know, likewise. Yeah. I think it's, I always admire people like yourself who
take it on,
get
in there,
you know, and accept whatever may come.
Tug and pull
And tug.
This is a good note to end it on, man. That was good advice that you just gave. A question I forgot to ask you. That was solid advice.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah.
All right,
man.
Thanks,
I'm
man.
going to cut us off now.
All right.
Because I could totally just talk to you all day.
Yeah, same.
You're a good friend, man. Thanks for coming on.
Too. All right, thanks, bud.
Peace, brother.
Later.
Now get the fuck out of here.